Hello and welcome to another day in this funky mental verse, and it's been, well, what would you say, a bit tedious, a bit bouncy, a bit all of that and the other, currently ongoing. But I had a wonderful question. With a lot of this, with what's going on and what's being experienced, it's all thematic. There's a lot of similarity, even though it's very, very different. So a beautiful sister, Christina Burton, asked a question on Facebook, and it's about Atlas, 3i Atlas, and some concepts on that. So assuming that the weather stays somewhere near, and even though it energetically, today's a tired one, today's a very tired one, so let's see what we can do with this. So currently, Atlas, I mean, I've come across it in a few different ways. There's a couple of guys that are running pressure models, galactic pressure models that are mapping the path of Atlas before it was seen, let's say, and recognized by many others. And models of galactic movements, spheres of influence, this type of idea. But also been watching I think it's Tiago, a Dobsonian power, and he's got his own telescope, and he's looking at the aspect of this 3i Atlas and seeing what it's doing and asking a lot of questions too. So its form currently is confusing. It's confusing everything. NASA, all of the other science institutions are coming out with all sorts of designations, definitions, and facts about this so-called comet, which don't actually stand up to scrutiny in the slightest, which is generally normal for that sort of type of institution and the science and the scientists, that talking heads, let's say. But let's start with a couple of the anomalies that Tiago's brought up, that have seemed to come from different areas, and the first one being a tail. There's no tail on it. In fact, the tail was going towards the sun, not behind it. So it's not representing or not presenting standard ideas of what it should be. The second biggest one is the CO2 output, the corona around it, or what's seen as the corona around it. Comes from a place where there is no water. Apparently this again is a real big anomaly for this, but the largest one I understand to be is the nickel content without any iron. So their spectroscopy and their imagery, even though they're not showing the images that could be shown, are very duplicitous and very obfuscating of what it actually is doing and what it actually is, including color shifts, and one's going off on reorientation, and basically if NASA says this, then it must be fact. And it's not corroborated by anybody else that's keeping an eye on it. So very much up in the air with its form, with its current form. Now I'm gonna link to a video. I'm gonna probably put it in the comments to this, or the description of this video, from George Cavassilis, and I think it was Michael Sala, an interview there. And George, I've been keeping an eye on this. Beautiful sister Renata from the Free Me portal, which is building beautifully at the moment currently, is linked with George, and the information I see that he's given is very, very good. The consciousness side of it too, the exopolitical, well, we can take that, and I'll give that a different aspect at another time should it become necessary. But effectively, he's saying it's a ship, and it's one of let's say they call them Jedi admirals, so higher dimensional admirals, right? Okay. I like the idea that it was a mission from humanity, so it's a human mission that went out on some ships and have come back and returned. So we started it, we finish it. I like this idea. Now, the new nomenclature and the naming of it all and the Jedi titles, I don't know. I'm not going to argue. Admiral, when we know their fleets and we know their ships and we know their vessels in this sort of way, so the designation for the individuals is fine by me as well. It doesn't make any difference. But what is interesting is the ship itself, that he talks about being a sentient being, not a ship, but a being, an entity, an energy of creation, that's representing itself as a ship for the occupants, i.e. the sparks of divinity, the admirals that were out. This is the third ship, or the lead ship, according to George. The previous two were the secondary and third ships of the 3-ship mission. Okay. So we've got a ship that's sentient. We've seen direction on that in many different interpretations by television companies, TV companies, to show us sentient ships. The one I recall is Moya from Farscape, but I know there's a few others where the ship is sentient. But this idea of sentient ship is an energetic being. Now, this being too, this energetic ship, is connected to everything. Well, so is the soul, so is each individual, but this on a creational level doing what it must do. So therefore, as soon as it entered this nested galaxy, let's say from its interstellar path, was harmonizing and bringing in a different vibration frequency to this realm, a harmonic. This is what I understand it to be. So manifest harmonizing of the realm. The concept behind that is that the disharmony, the energy of creation is constantly harmonizing that which is disharmonic, the breath of creation. So it's moving through and it's harmonizing that which is disharmonic, raising it, or what some may call evolution, progression, the arrow of time, blah, blah, blah. Moving and progressing things forward, especially from the plateau. That's energetically, interdimensionally, or creationally a concept. But what would it look in manifest? How would it reveal itself to us manifestly? And I believe it could be coming in the shape of this ship, this vessel, this rock, so-called. Now, as with creation, as with everything else, from what we can see is that everything appears in the way that you need it to appear, for your own vision, for your own clarity, for your own perspective. Now, many people can look at the same thing and everybody sees a different descriptor or a different definition, or everybody has a different opinion. The old one on this was the blind men, but the trunk and a tail of an elephant, both describing an elephant very, very differently. So anyone listening would not see that they're describing the same thing. They would think it was two separate things, but in fact it's one thing, but it was missing the whole. So in this respect, this comet, vessel, ship, entity will deliver whatever it needs to whatever is attempting to perceive it. George goes into this a little bit too in his video, which makes perfect sense because it's exactly what creation does for everybody else in this respect, which then has the identity of appearing in the nature of the individual's concept of what it should look like. This is what's playing out currently, it seems, as many are seeing it from different angles, different perspectives, and different purviews from different institutions, giving a limited aspect to what this ship is doing. It came in on an ecliptic path. It's come in along the plane of all the planets. It's on an ecliptic path. If the path was the galaxy is flat like this, it didn't come in up or down, it came in straight. Now, I haven't got the dates of all the planets that it's passing, but it is passing every single one in this solar system, and impacting them harmonically in my perspective. Now, what George will talk about is exopolitically and interdimensionally on different diplomatic levels of different blah, blah, blah. I'm not going into that detail. All of that exopolitical and all of that arena of detail for me is no different to ego arguing within the self. All of the ways of manipulation and control systems and all of these happen within, so we can explain them without in exopoliticals and geopoliticals till the cows come home. But that doesn't give function. That just gives a form and a detail that's I'm not that keen on. Others can go into that, and that's fine. So this harmonizer is passing these spheres, these planets, and every planet has an influence, a field, a magnetic field, which is vibrational and connects to the whole inside this nested galaxy, which all connects to Gaia, Earth, Sophia, and the sun and all the rest of these things. So this is coming through and intercepting, or to more or lesser degrees, getting very proximal to everything it's passing. The next one being Mars, October 3rd. So Mars, god of war. Let's look at the planet's designations through historical and mythological archetypes, and god of war for Mars, let's say. So what's happening on the surface currently? There's a huge military industrial, not simple, but that's going on currently, that's moving a lot of military equipment around the place, looking like it's wanting to create war. But that's what everybody's looking at. What the underlying malevolence wants is civil war, not global war. That's the fear that's being put into everybody, but the civil war, so they can clamp down on the human, let's just call it that for now, human standing up to the false authorities. So civil war is the downside of the global wars, and this way you can divide and conquer individual countries by pitting them against each other, and then clamping down with this problem reaction solution, or currently, as it's looking very much like for the UK, for instance, digital ID. Tech giants, Elon, other ones that have got anti-Islam rhetorics and all sorts of things ongoing, and of course the solution is digital ID. So this requires a collapse of a structure within society in many countries too. So this is the inversion of war. So we're going to be going through that process as Atlas passes Mars. The next one would be Venus, I believe. Venus, which is lust, love, the other side of that, degradation. We're seeing a lot of the other things on PDF files. And all of this ongoing, this is coming to the surface right now. Jupiter coming in next, or later. Is Jupiter later? Much later. Is that next April? The closer ones. So all of these, as we're going past these three, we're going to hit Jupiter, which is a false judgment. So judgment, it's looking at the high. So each of these have got a symmetry, or an up and a down, and it plays out in the malevolent. That's what that's what's trying to happen. But the benevolent is the impact, is what's actually coming out. So the people aren't going to civil war, even though they've got every right to. The global war isn't happening, even though it's being portrayed as if it is. So all of this falsity is rocking everything and shaking belief systems, which is altering perspectives and raising them from subservient to false authority, false idol, false worship, into self-authority. This is the harmonization of this frequency, or this nested galaxy, which then allows for culmination. So this is crescendoing. The love aspect will be interesting to see what that comes out as in Venus, the false judgment aspect next year, but then you've got the previous archetypes that are Mercury, Saturn, Uranus, and all of these a little bit further away, but they've still got their archetypal meanings, representations from the myth, and up and down malevolence, or the spectrum of feelings with them. Can you pause that? I'm gonna. The culmination. I don't see where this goes, because it gives what it's going to rain, because it gives everybody what everybody needs. Then all of the belief systems are being, let's say, fulfilled through this process, or expanded. There's the word, expanded, unlimited, not unlimited, but expanded through this process. And all of the storylines and narratives are suitable for these belief systems. We're going to have to pause that again, it's raining. And the rain came down, which is glorious, glorious rainy season here in Cambodia. but every now and then that sort of stuff happens. So culmination, as this is moving through, there's a lot going on in the external reality with regards to what ones are believing, what ones are seeing, what ones are aligning with, what ones are siding to. Atlas is coming through, which is gathering attention. It's being hidden by a lot of mainstream information. So I'm speaking with people who've never even heard of it, and others have heard of it and have got many, many different viewpoints on it. And that's beautiful, because what it's going to do is, over time, focus those viewpoints. When's Earth?
19th December.
19th of December. So the proximity to Earth at that point. So I'm looking at influence of spheres, the symphony of spheres, the songs of the spheres, and all of these ideas. So the proximity is relative. It doesn't necessarily matter, but it depends on its impact. So we're going to see as we move forwards, as this harmonizer goes past these, bringing in the new energy, let's say, removing all of the existing deceit, malevolence, releasing it to be seen, so that in a manner, the unspeakable becomes speakable. This is another concept that's just came in, is where the unforgivable, let's just talk about this quickly, and I'll add this to this one. That which is unforgivable can't be spoken. And I'm talking about within, not necessarily without yet. So the shame, the deceit, any areas within each aspect that is unforgivable is unspeakable. So the more that can be spoken, the more is forgiven, let's say. So in this respect, forgiven is this is an internal attitude, not necessarily an external one, but it's going to break down all of the barriers of division as we start to develop the ability to speak at depth to that which was previously unspeakable from our own experiences. So currently we're seeing a lot of that which is unspeakable, evil, demonic, inverted, corrupted, malevolent, vicious, intentionally corrupting. All of these ideas which internally the ego hides, the self-defense system hides and suppresses so deeply, is now being spoken more openly by those who have done that depth, and that is surfacing all of this information that will break down existing belief structures, astrological, spiritual, metaphysical, also military industrial, pharmaceutical industrial, technologically industrial, archetypally industrial, all of these ideas that are running across the plane, running across the realm, the reality, co-created, are fundamentally breaking down as the unspeakable is being spoken. And the oppression, the suppression, the attempt to rigorously and deviously corrupt and be quietened anybody who's speaking the unspeakable is now becoming untenable. More and more are being shut down, more and more are being marginalized, pillarized by the actual false authorities, whilst they demand worship, idolization, and subservience. This is the breaking down of all of this, and of course our harmonic inputter is creationally manifest, the Atlas, to enhance and bring this to manifest reality. So I trust some parts of that, at least in this scatterbrain data collector that tries to put pictures together, bring some semblance of an idea of what's going on. Its abstract values are very, very important. Not what it looks like, not what somebody's defining it as, because that's limited, because it's conceptual. But past that into what's its function. Why is it doing what it's doing, regardless of where it comes from, which is another interesting aspect actually, which is, from what I understand, even though we had a discussion on this, Sagittarius, the same as Voyager, the same as the beeping that was received, the messaging, which is also centralized to the cosmic center. All of this idea of where the object, the being, the creation, the Atlas is coming from, also links everything back to a fundamental, a core that is concentrate, not diluted with peripheral ideologies and belief systems and unspeakable acts, but core, true, transparent, honest and open. So all of this is coming through as it is. Much love, brothers and sisters, much love.